Good morning. It's Wednesday, November 9th, aka the day after Election Day, which is kind of still going on. Today, we're going to talk about the Honda-Sony venture and how Honda dealers might get to service those cars, Vroom versus Carvana, and a 3-day work week. How to speed up at the end.
Had to go. You had to shorten it. See,
get it? It was,
I see what
I didn't do there, but I would have been great if I could. Yeah,
if you could have.
There's all kinds of subliminal messages in this show. You just got to really be paying attention to catch them all. Well, good morning. Hope you're having a good week so far. I've just been hearing people just loving on the weather. Oh,
tell you what, it is beautiful in Nashville right now. Just absolutely gorgeous. Like 50-degree mornings, 78-degree afternoons, which you're like, that's so hot.
Yeah, 78. Actually, it was 80. It was 80 in Syracuse on Sunday.
No way. Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Some records. It's been really nice. Yeah, we had last night though was the first night like we dipped. It was like 26 last night. So we got that really, it's really sunny though. So you get this pretty coating of frost, but I think we're pretty much done with the like unseasonably. It's time to have fall now, right? Which is fine. It's the second week of November. We could do that. We could do that just in time for starting to have fall. You and I are on our way to Palm Beach this weekend to be at the Modern Retail Conference Creative Track. We're going to dodge the hurricane. The hurricane's going to hit today and tomorrow, and we're just going to swoop in afterwards. And Brian Pash is like, we're going to put on a conference after that. So not expecting to see too much beach while we're there. Anyway, we tend to keep our heads down and get working, but we're going to be there with dealers, industry partners. We're going to record a bunch of content coming to you live from Palm Beach the days we're there. So stay tuned if you can't be there, if you're going to be at Used Car Week or something like that. We're going to bring you all the good stuff that is happening at Brian Pash's Modern Retail Conference for sure. So stay tuned, and we're looking forward to being with you if you're going to be there. What else we got to talk about before we talk about things? Anything else?
Not much.
In the dirt podcast.
In the dirt out, I will say, like, I think I got 5 texts this weekend. Like, yo, what is this end of year thing? What's this end of year thing?
Oh, yes. Let's talk about this for a second.
We'll tell you soon.
Let's talk about
right now.
Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars
for the afternoon of the 20th of December. And we got some fun up our sleeves. We've got some real industry insights, some kind of like, hey, nobody's doing anything that week, so we're gonna wrap it all in a little bow, ship it to next year real quick, and just set you up for the next year with some fun, some insights, all of that. So look out for stuff like live stream calendars, or we might let a couple people come down to Nashville.
Oh, I think there might be. How can we go to Nashville and not let a couple people come with us?
Come on.
But you know us. We're going to swing for the fence again. We're going to level it up again. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely block it off in your calendar. Do we pick a time?
Maybe. I don't know.
The afternoon of December 20th.
Sometime between 1
and 4 Eastern.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't have anything else to do then anyway. Let's talk about a little news. This story has been developing, and despite a proposed direct-to-consumer online-only sales model for the joint venture with Honda and Sony, remember they're going to get together. They said they're going to make an EV. CFO Kohei Takeuchi said that the 1,000 plus U.S. dealers are well situated to service the vehicles during the company's financial results announcement yesterday. So he said, hey, like, we're doing things this way, and it's going to be this Honda-Sony collab. He said the discussions are still going, but as we look about it, U.S. dealers are in a really good place to service these things. So regarding the sales plan, he continued the sentiments that the sales process would be different. He said different than their current way, saying it'll be something unconventional, not Sony, not Honda, but something new. And last month, they announced that these vehicles will be produced and delivered as early as 2026, which is pretty quick.
Wow.
They're going to make them in the Ohio plant. Yeah, they're going to make them in Ohio and actually export them to Japan.
I know the first runs are going to Japan. That's crazy.
That is like that's a total paradigm shift.
U.S. vehicle export of a non-U.S. company. Craziness.
From a Japanese brand, right? Yeah. Japan's making vehicles in the U.S., bringing them back to Japan. Obviously, U.S. dealers were like, hey, wait, what's this going on? We want to be a part of it. So look, this is going to solve one of those issues that we talk about all the time with Tesla and Rivian. It's been part of the conversation a lot. You can sell online. You can try to go to direct to consumer, but it always breaks down when it comes to service. How are you going to get the vehicles taken care of not just in the event of a recall, but people like to know there's a place where they can drive the car that will know
taken
something about the
care
car
of.
and be
Yep.
able to fix it.
Know a person, all of that. Now, here's my thing. This is my whole thing on this, because they keep saying something unconventional, something new. I just can't imagine that they are dreaming up something so unconventional, something so new that's never been tried before, that it's like, wow, that blew my mind. But this is my challenge. I don't know if like we can organize this or someone else, or if someone's just like dreamy entrepreneurial. Like I would almost, as American dealers, treat this as like in the tech or in the agency world, there's something called an RFP, so a request for proposal. And it's like almost treating Sony and Honda, or a major OEM or anything like that, as like, what's your proposal? Like what is the Honda dealer like? Hey, we want to be a part of it, right? Well, tell us how. Tell the OEMs how you're going to be a part of it. Like, get together an internal dealer council that can propose, like, this is like, if you want to leapfrog Carvana and Vroom and all of these, this is how we propose to do it. It's altogether different, but engage it. Like, how cool would that be to see like a dealer council, push forward,
be proactive,
be
pushing
proactive
innovation,
and put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're much more like, hey, when you put forth good ideas and people know you're thinking about it, I mean, definitely is more likely to earn you a seat at the table. From a sales model,
table. Exactly. Yes,
absolutely. From a sales model standpoint, as I thought through this a little bit more, I'm like, well, what could they do to innovate and revolute the PS5? You could sell the car on the PS5.
Not
you got
Sony, no Honda. It's like everybody
you
knows
got
how to
VR
that thing. You can
test
VR
goggles. You can absolutely, you can play it in your games. Like, I'm like, the PS5 is like, can you imagine like buying a car on a PS5? But if you ever were gonna do it,
you're like, in order to get a car, you have to stake out Target for 3 weeks to find the PS5 for $500 first, and then you can get our new car.
No,
what a mess.
I know. Speaking of a mess,
segue,
or a clearing mess, a little bit reverse. A clearing mess, I think, is what it seems like. Vroom's recent earnings call touted record e-commerce gross profit per unit of $42.06. So they're like, we're doing better than ever on our gross profit per unit. This is up 16%. They also noted a decrease in expenses, a net loss improvement, meaning they lost less than they did last time, from 115 million to 51 million, which is substantial, right? Absolutely. That's a 200% improvement.
That's
and massive. A marginal improvement in earnings before income taxes and appreciation. What's the A in EBITDA? Earnings before interest, taxes, and oh boy. The other stuff. Tom Short, CEO of Vroom, commented, "We continue to make progress on our 3 key objectives and 4 strategic initiatives as outlined during our investor day in May. We are intensely focused on improving the customer experience." And then
because all those 3-star reviews are telling you better.
They are. And so like for him to get on the call yesterday or Monday and be able to say this, it's like, hey, we're making more per unit. We've decreased expenses. We are intensely focused on the customer experience. And they added this line, which is obviously a direct shot at what's going on with Carvana in Michigan. He's like, oh, and as a side note, 98% of our customers received completed registrations before the expiration of their temporary ones, which is probably pretty close to what happens in like just generic dealer world.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
so they
Vroom, I will say, like, it's kind of crazy because Vroom came out of a dealer, right? Like,
yep.
It was a used car dealer, Texas Direct, prior to being Vroom. So you gotta believe at some point someone's like, okay, we kind of had some stuff figured out. Let's go do it like that again, and we might, just cross the boundary.
They got a couple connections. So it's kind of they also noted that they're going to be focusing not focusing on volume and volume growth, but focusing on profit per vehicle. It's very similar to what Carvana said in their earnings call. Hey, we're not going to focus on volume of cars. We're going to focus on profits. After the press call or the announcement, the earnings call, Vroom saw almost 8% stock increase yesterday. It's still down 90% year over year. Right. Carvana's down over 97%. Like, this action in that market is crazy. Like, remember last week, we're like, you believe Carvana's at $14? Now it's like, you believe Carvana's at $7?
$7, yeah.
But when you look at the situation that Vroom is in with their floor plan, with their debt service, it's a very different picture than the situation Carvana is in.
Yep.
And so it'll be interesting to see how like Vroom, who was kind of second to market, can hold up long term. And this drama is going to continue to play out. But I felt like it was a pretty strong showing from Vroom, at least showing us that customer experience has to be focused on. The profit per vehicle has to be focused on. And when you try to do something a new way, you got to be willing to be flexible. And we'll see.
Sometimes you got to realize that there's some stuff from legacy that actually might help your business, and I think like pulling from legacy and new, actually it creates this like happy medium that customers and investors and employees are a lot more willing to lean into.
No doubt. No doubt. Speaking of employers and employees.
Stop. Segue.
Time. Take this Chick-fil-A one. Take this Chick-fil-A one. It's so good.
It's so good. So everybody is struggling to hire right now. I don't care where you're at, what you're hiring for, technicians, like frontline employees, high-level employees, it doesn't matter. But one Chick-fil-A operator is getting a whole bunch of attention because he's gone not from a 6-day to a 5-day, not from a 5-day to a 4-day, but from a 5-day to a 3-day work week full-time at his store. And it's working because they are literally destroying and taking out any opportunity for like any churn. So they've designed this work week. They've completely eliminated turnover in their stores, and basically everybody in the area is running at that Chick-fil-A. And I think, how could they not? So basically, it looks like this. So they've got a 25 team member and then 18 team leaders. They've got 2 pods that kind of switch, and they work 13 to 14-hour shifts with breaks, and then they flip those. And then they work 2 Saturdays a month and don't have to ever be on call. So what's cool about this is what happens is you eliminate this necessity for people being like, oh, I need this weird day off or this extra day off, or I'm quitting, I'm out. And so all of a sudden this structure of employee, like it always just kind of works and fits, and all the employees feel comfortable and happy around their work environment. So Paul, 3-day work week. Can you imagine?
Well, when I first read this, I was just like, how much less could you actually work? Right. We go to 5 days and then the 4 days. I'm like, what? But I personally like the return of the long work day. Because there's all this, around 7 or 8 8-hour work day. But when you extend that, the efficiency of just what it is in your daily life and daily time dynamically changes, right?
Yep.
Maybe you go in at 6 and you leave at 6, or you leave at 7, right? That's a long day. I have just think of a lot of people work 12-hour shifts. Honestly, power workers, firefighters, right? 12-hour shift is the thing. But to actually
doctors and
do
nurses,
that,
right? Yeah.
All day, all the time. And so like to see that go into fast food, which would make you a little skeptical, right? Can you handle it? But when it's like, hey, I'm working a full-time job, but I have 4 days off. And if you've ever worked in fast food or retail, to only be working 2 Saturdays a month is amazing. And another thing that they noted is that no one is on call, right?
Yep.
So you would think like, oh, they have to shift. No, it's because people step up to this to preserve the 4-day work week. Everyone has to step up to make sure they're there at their shift.
They're preserving their own and everyone else's at the same time. Yep.
People will fight for something and they will stretch for something that is equally benefiting them on the other side. And look, when there's a line at the door, they've had 0 manager turnover since implementing this program. Crazy. And there's a line at the door for people to work there. So when there's a line at the door for people to get the job, it's a good job. And the people that are there are fighting to stay there. And so it's funny how it just works. The owner operator, Justin Lindsay said, traditionally, we had used the term, the gift of time, or the phrase, the gift of time, to refer to serving our guests in a quick way, in a timely fashion. Hey, we want to give our guests the gift of time back, so we want to be quick. Yep. He said, but we always left employees out of the equation, which is kind of what prompted this philosophical change in his mind to go this way and like leave it to Chick-fil-A to do something in the industry everyone says is just hopeless. Everyone says you're just going to have people who don't care, serving food that is just subpar and giving customers experience that is bad. Chick-fil-A has always bucked that trend, and now they're really changing the dynamic.
So I've got kind of two notes out of this story because everyone in retail is probably like 3-day work week, what, and I don't think that's that's maybe not possible for everyone, especially if you're a salesperson and you're trying to maintain customer relationships. Like the integration of the two teams would have to be so tight in like the handoff. So I think like the first note for me is just think about your schedules, right? Is it possible to restructure the way that you've always done it to value time of your people, right? And hey, maybe your people want to work longer or less time or whatever, but like think about your employees and how they perceive time and figure out, we are seeing a lot of dealers going to a 4-day work week in service and sales. So just know like that's a possibility. So just think about your time as a part of your business structure. And then the next one, and this one I think is even more key, is how many times do we make decisions for one subset of our organization that we don't move that or think about it to the other subset? Like, oh, we need to make this change for salespeople, but not service advisors, or frontline employees, but managers not, right? And pay aside, there's just this perception that like care toward one part, for customers, but not employees, right? And so I thought that was a really interesting kind of way of perceiving this from Mr. Lindsay, that says like, hey, if it's a core value of what we're doing, then that should be passed to everyone, no matter their status or their, whether they're employee or customer. So just lean into those two things. Think about your time and think about like your core values being prevalent throughout your organization.
Stop. There you go. Full stop.
Full stop.
We're getting you to rethink things this Wednesday. It's a great day to rethink things. The bottom line is think about people. Think about people. Let that drive every other decision as you go today.